We know that since Iran's election on the 14th of June, over a 24-day period, 90 individuals have been executed. In a 24-day period since the election of a new president in Iran. The new president, falsely dubbed as a moderate, should be subjected to greater scrutiny. We should remember that in the presidential debates before the election, Mr. Rouhani sold himself as a man capable of curtailing the nuclear program. Remember, this man has held many of the highest offices in the Mullah's regime. Rouhani is not a force for change. He's proud of his role in suppressing student demonstrations in 1999. As Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the president-elect of the NCRI, announced to a major international gathering in Paris only some weeks ago on June the 22nd, and I quote, "Nothing will change as long as freedom of expression and human rights remain non-existent in Iran. As long as political prisoners and political parties are repressed. As long as the regime's intransigent policy in Syria and Iraq remain intact. And as long as the regime insists on building nuclear weapons." And she is right.
And the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and Undersecretary for Political Affairs Ambassador Jeffrey Feldman should immediately stop considering Martin Kobler as a reliable source of information. The problem here would be to find an honest investigation team within the United Nations. I never thought that I would be standing before you saying today that the United Nations needs to find an independent investigation team that we can support.
Over 30,000 people, many supporters and members of the PMOI, have been executed for standing up for their beliefs in recent years, just by denouncing Islamic fundamentalism and the absolute rule of the clergy. Those very brave men and women who gave up their lives for the cause of democracy and freedom in Iran. In the last 6 months alone, we've all witnessed 3 rocket attacks on Camp Ashraf. 10 residents have lost their lives, and almost 170 have been very seriously injured. Camp Liberty is to many a prison. It remains a very dangerous place to reside. The UN AMI, in my opinion, and indeed in many others in this room, is not doing enough to prevent this kind of attack, and particularly the missile attacks which the residents have been experiencing. From today, the UN should be held accountable. It should be held accountable for any future attacks that occur, because they know the threat and that they know the solution, which is to return the residents to Ashraf, which is 80 times bigger and is more secure.
Years. Let's take Madam Rajavi's words, let's put them into action. Let's say that the security of the world will continue to be threatened unless this matter is sorted out. As Iran still exports terrorism to various parts of the world, as the mullahs still suppress liberties, it's a shame on us all. It's a shame on the United Nations. And once again, we send our message tonight to Madam Rajavi, the inspirational leader of resistance, that we are still with you, heart, spirit, soul, and we will continue to fight. But until the day comes that you can walk into Tehran as a free person, we won't cease. We won't cease our fight, and I wish all of you that have got this responsibility to get the message across all the luck in the world.